how many pages it leads. And if you go to there are many awards, many publications, I can say that he's one of the living legend in the field of psychodrama and psychology. And we are blessed to have his session today. On behalf of Alagappa University, on behalf of the American College, on behalf of the participants over here, I welcome you for today's webinar session. Please take over the session and share your knowledge, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Hans, please, you can proceed with your presentation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Vielen Dank. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to see you. So,
nice to see you.
Good morning to all participants. We have midday today here in Germany. And today I would like to talk about Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers was an American psychologist, and he is the founder of the client-centered therapy. I want to introduce his personality, his development, and main points of his theory. So, and I would use a PowerPoint presentation for it, because last time I had problems with the language, Indian accent. I could not understand well, so I thought it is better to write it. So, but now I don't know how to start. Is it possible to click? Do you present it, or do I do it myself?
Professor, I will present for you from here. Professor, okay. Yeah, I will present for you here. Yes. Wow. You're able to see the screen now.
Yeah. So I need to find my presentation. One moment, please.
Sure, sir. Dr. Hans?
Yes, I'm looking for the right presentation, because you saw the tables, but I need to get the text to the tables. Mm-hmm.
Professor, can you able to see the screen?
So I have the problem that I don't get my text.
Okay.
If I switch to the presentation.
Dr. Suresh Kumar sir will support you with the presentation slides, sir. You can proceed with your presentation. Can you see the PPT, sir? Is it visible on your screen?
If I click to the presentation like this, you can see it, but I cannot see my text.
Okay. Then, Professor, you can share from your screen itself. I'll stop from here. And there is a button called Share Screen is there in your screen. You can just click that and open your PPT. It will be visible to all. In the down corner, you can see the green color, share screen. Yes, share screen. Open your PPT, Professor, and then share screen, it will be there. You can see the text also.
That's a presentation of the screen.
Yes, yes, Professor.
You can see, but my text is off. My presentation text is off. It is written under the...
Okay, okay.
So I try to open it for a second time.
Yes,
yes. Professor, you can use the text from your side. I will. Can I present PPT from here?
Is it okay if Suresh Kumar sir shows the PPT? Is it okay, sir?
No, he is having the text for that PPT. Professor, you can open the text in your screen. I will do one thing. I will share the screen from here. Is it okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Professor. I will share the PPT from here. You can open the text from in your computer. You can start presenting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, Professor. I will do the screen sharing from here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. You can proceed, Professor. I will take care of that.
Yeah. So next one. Yes, I would like to talk about Carl Rogers, his origin and development of his therapy. Sometimes it is called talk therapy, sometimes you name it conversation therapy. And I would like to talk about his career as founder of this special psychotherapy. Next. You go on.
Next slide, sir.
Next slide. Next, please.
Yes.
So Carl Rogers was born in 1902. He grew up in a puritanically conservative family that fed on agriculture. In the close family union, hard work was done. Religious, ethical beliefs determined thinking and acting. Parents and children treated each other in a distant manner. He only spoke when it was necessary and certainly not about feelings. Next. In his article, Development and Current State of My Views on Interpersonal Relationships in 1983, Reuters describes in detail how his development began in his parental home, how he felt about his loneliness and social isolation within the family as he grew up, and during his life became aware of the entire training period and how he can overcome the loneliness and make important learning experiences that he can later use in his personal and professional life. Next. In the same way, Reuters made intensive use of important stages in his life and training to gain experiences about himself and about interpersonal relationships. He developed his beliefs in dealing with other people in a meaningful way. In friendship and marriage, he learned that a deep exchange with others is not only possible, but even enriching. He realized that it is important to speak about the elements of relationship that are kept secret, that are troubling or unsatisfactory. After studying agriculture, later studying theology, he came to clinical psychologist. Yes. Reuters was particularly interested in the practical clinical work, in educational counseling. He tried to gain as much knowledge about the clients as possible. The way he acted was rather cool and distant, as he knew from his parents' house. In dealing with psychoanalysis, he learned more about the individual, his childhood, various degrees of dependence on people in his environment, sophisticated tests, long reports, and thorough diagnostic interviews should serve the goal of getting to know and treating clients better. During his studies, Reuters was impressed by the warm and sympathetic behavior of a professor who impressed him more with her personality than with her lectures, without it being possible to derive consequences for his behavior in dealing with clients. He began his work as a member of the Department of Child Research in Rochester, New York. From his failures, some clients did not want to agree with his diagnostics and advice. Some simply stayed away. Reuters learned to question his distance, to realize, listen to the client, and to trust his own way. Sigmund Freud's student Otto Rank encouraged him to include the client's ability in therapy to find his own solutions in his problems. Next. Some of the experiences from the period were decisive for Reuters' later work. Dominant and authoritarian behaviors in dealing with clients have at most short-term and superficial effects. The client knows best what is bothering him, what conflicts he has, and in which direction he wants to go. Next. Reuters became a professor at Ohio State University. Here, he has developed his person-centered conversation psychotherapy, which clearly stood out against direct counseling and psychoanalytic treatment and presented it to the public in his book, Counseling and Psychotherapy, in 1942. Supplemented by the verbatim transcript of a complete one-taped psychotherapy, that it was very new at that time. At the University of Chicago, he tried to formulate his new attitude towards interpersonal relationships and to act accordingly when dealing with students and staff. At the same time, he checked his hypothesis by intensifying the therapy research that had already started. In 1952, his book, Client-Centered Therapy, was published, in which he described his therapeutic approach, the philosophical basic, empirical studies, and the personality theory in detail. Next. 1954 and 1967 were followed by studies on the processes and effects of person-centered conversation psychotherapy. Rogers later extended his concepts to groups, on-encounter groups in 1970, and to the education, Freedom to Learn in 1969. He formulates the personal learning experiences that he gradually gained and that determined his behavior as a therapist. In my experience with people, I found that acting in the long run does not help, as if I'm someone I'm not. Next. It is more effective when I listen to myself, accepting, and when I can be myself. It is of great value to me if I can allow myself to understand another person. It is enriching to open channels through which others can communicate their feelings, their privately perceived world to me. It is extremely satisfying to accept another person. That was in 1961. The concept of conversation psychotherapy by Rogers started in 1940 and was published in 1942 with his book Counseling and Psychotherapy. The attached tape record of a therapy session was the first sensational attempt in the history of clinical psychotherapy using the methods of empirical psychological research was transparent in the further development of conversation therapy. Theoretical systems were continuously derived from the phenomena observed in psychotherapeutic processes, which in turn were verified by empirical research. The development of theoretical considerations and their empirical verification were understood as a necessary, mutually corrective process. The development can be described in three phases, but which, although to a different extent, consistently show similarities that describe the therapeutic concept as a whole. Next. similaries that describe the therapeutic concept. Basically, everyone has the ability to independently develop their personality, behavior, and experience. Given the right conditions, for example, in therapy or other good interpersonal relationships towards maturation and self-fulfillment. The therapeutic situation must be largely fear-free and safe for the client. The therapist's communication style should be such that it enables the client to think about himself. Deep self-exploration is the next, and self-reflection about his behavior and experience. The next. The therapeutic situation should be as real as possible and interpersonal. That is, interpersonal encounter, in which the therapist meets the client in a genuine, warm, and sensitive way. The therapist should also express the client's own experience of the therapeutic situation and his own personal self-awareness in a sensitive, open manner. The non-directive phase was the first phase of this development of this therapy. It was estimated between 1940 and 1950. The main goal of the therapeutic work here is to create a permissive, fear-free atmosphere in which the client, free of dirigistic therapeutic approach, comes to an understanding of himself in order to correctly assess his problems and to be able to try to solve them himself. The therapist deliberately refrains from giving advice and instructions, which Reuters used to differentiate himself from the then usual therapeutic processes, but accepts the expressed feelings of the client, endeavors to warmly and empathetically grasp emotional contents of the utterances and to reflect them back with a little interpretation, with as little interpretation as possible. Next. It's a client-centered phase, the second phase. Just like the first section of conversation therapy, by the first book, Reuters, the second section to introduce by his second book, Client-Centered Therapy, in 1951. It lies between 1950 and 1967 and is overlapped by the third phase from around 1957. The emphasis of here is no longer so much on the therapist, his cognitive clarification and insight into the problem situation of the client. But now the focus is on the subjective world of the client, which needs to be perceived. The understanding gained through empathy is convened to the client, whereby the valuation-free reflection of feelings and the warm and genuine effort of the therapist should initiate a process in which the client reorganizes himself At the same time, a personality theory is developed. Empirical research is being pursued to demonstrate and verify the effectiveness of talk therapy. Next, the focus on the investigations is the behavior and change of the client. The key term is self-concept. According to Rogers, it is the job of the therapist to help the client to review and change the self-concept, which may be fraudulent, so that he is able to perceive and integrate meaningful experiences undistorted. Next. The behavior of the therapist towards his client is particularly described by three variables. First, human, genuine, non-facade reaction of the therapist in conversation with the client. Warm-hearted, unconditional acceptance of the client's person. Compassionate understanding of the client's world of experience and the most precise verbalization of his emotional experience. These basic variables have been thoroughly examined using estimation scales and can be empirically verified as basic psychotherapeutic behaviors. In Germany at that time, Reuters results were taken up primarily by Tausch, Reinhard Tausch, the professor in Hamburg, further theoretically worked out and used in therapy. In the meantime, the therapist's client-centered attitudes have been recognized not only in clinical therapy, but also in other areas of human coexistence as valid and beneficial. Next. The next phase, third phase, the person-centered phase. It extends from around 1957 to the present day. Here, the emphasis is clearly placed on the relationship and the ongoing process between therapist and client. The three significant therapist variables of empathy, warmth, and genuineness, first described by Roger in 1957, are increasingly seen as necessary basic conditions and are expanded by a variety of therapeutic approaches in addition to empirical research into therapeutic processes is increasingly becoming the focus of interest. Therapeutic phenomena are examined, hypotheses are established and tested, which are no longer obtained only in one-to-one interviews, but increasingly in self-awareness groups, family and group therapies, drug addicts, alcoholics, and psychotics. That defines more precisely what the variables warmth and authenticity can mean in individual cases and how they are filled with context. In therapy, the crucial question remains whether it is possible for in 1973 and Learning in Freedom 10 years later, Rogers introduces a hypothetical person. The experience that the man has through his senses is a reality for him, even if it is not all accessible to his conscious. The image that people make of themselves and evaluate based on the experiences in their self-concept. New experiences that do not correspond with the self-concept are denied before consciousness. that is, at Rogers, not symbolized. A true, fully functioning person is the one who is open to all experiences, does not adopt a defensive distance, respects himself, and always makes and integrates new experiences. The necessary and sufficient conditions for the therapeutic process. In 57, Rogers described the necessary and sufficient conditions for personality change through psychotherapy. Two people, client and therapist, are in contact with each other. The client is in a state of vulnerability. His experience and feeling to do correspond to his self-image. If he is not aware of the disagreement with himself, incongruity, he is in a fearful state of tension. The therapist, as far as possible, accepts the client unconditionally, regardless of what he does, thinks, says, or feels. This condition can be considered fulfilled if the client feels encouraged to take care of their own experience without worrying about losing the therapist's attention. The therapist gets to know the inner frame of reference of the client through empathy and shares his experiences. The client at least begins to notice the positive attention and the communication of what the therapist has understood. Next. Here, the interaction character of the therapy becomes clear, which at least presupposes the approach of a relationship between client and therapist. A therapeutic effective relationship has developed when the therapist is empathetic, congruent, and appreciative, and the client can perceive and accept this relationship offer. Next, in psychotherapy, they are sometimes named differently. At Rogers, they are called empathetic understanding, empathy, unconditional acceptance and appreciation of the client, authenticity of the therapist. They are considered the most important features in the relationship between therapist and client. At Rogers as necessary and sufficient to change your personality. Next. Rogers defines empathic understanding as follows. It means entering the personal perception world of another and being completely at home in it. At every moment, it includes sensitivity to the changing emotional meanings that flow in this other person for fear or anger, tenderness or confusion or whatever experience he or she is experiencing. It means living temporarily in his/her life, moving cautiously and without judgment and emotional meaning that she is barely aware of, but without trying to uncover feelings that the other person is completely unconscious of, because that would be too threatening, facing others fearfully, impartially, and fearlessly. It means with him/her the accuracy of the truth to check the helper's response and to be guided by the answers received. The helper is a trusting companion for the other in his/her world. By showing the emotional meanings in the stream of his/her experience, he helps the other person to take up this value relationship with the inner experience, to experience the emotional meanings more experience-wise, and to advise to experience. Next.
I am very fortunate, and the client is very fortunate, if I can feel I really accept you fully just as you are. Sometimes that's very difficult. I held an interview with a young man in South Africa. I didn't know anything about him. It turned out he was an officer in the South African Army. Now, for me, that
Professor, unmute yourself.
So, next one, please.
Yes.
To be with another person in this way means that during this time the helper puts aside the views and values that he holds himself in order to enter the other person's world of experience without prejudging. In a sense, this means that the helper resets himself. This can only be done by someone who is stable enough in himself to know that he will not lose himself in the other's world of experience, which can turn out to be strange or bizarre, and that he can leave it when he wants. Empathy means to comprehend the experience of the other as completely and exactly as if it were your own, and to communicate the perceived to the client. Empathic understanding has the function of promoting self-exploring and self-empathy of the client. Next. Rogers defines unconditional acceptance and appreciation of the client. Tausch called it caution, warmth, concern, as follows. I assume that personal growth and change occur more in a person the more the psychotherapist and counselor feels warm, positive, experiencing self-accepting attitudes towards what is going on in the client, which means that he respects his clients as a person with the same emotional qualities that parents feel towards his child when he respects him as a person independently of how things are at that moment, which means that the psychotherapist is caring for his client in a non-possessive way as a person with development opportunities, including an open willingness to accept the client. However he feels, the moment may be hostile or loving, rebelling or submitting, self-confident or self-contempt. Next. It means feeling a kind of love for the client as he is, provided we understand the word love in the theological term, agape, and not in the usual romantic and possessive sense. What I'm describing here is a feeling that is neither patricial, nor sentimental, nor superficially amiable. I respect other people as an independent individual and does not take possession of them. It is a kind of affection which has a certain strength and intensity, but which does not demand. We call it respect for one person. An essential part of unconditional appreciation is that the therapist approaches the client as free of prejudice as possible. He has to put aside his own points of view and evaluations. Reuters formulates a connection between the empathetic understanding and unconditional appreciation of the therapist. Both characteristics are aspects of the relationship between therapist and client. The degree of unconditional appreciation that the therapist feels is a criterion for the extent to which he is able to respond empathetically to his clients. Appreciation is only therapeutically effective if it is accompanied by understanding. He has to know what he values unconditionally. The therapist has to see his relationship offer from the point of view of an interaction. For example, also, it is likely effect on the client. For example, it can initially be a matter of self-control and need not yet be communicated to the client, who may not be able to stand the appreciation expressed, since it cannot be reconciled with his negative self-concept. Rogers described the therapist's variable congruence in the relationship between therapist and clients as follows. First of all, I assume that personality growth is promoted when the therapist is what he is in his relationship with the client, without drawing boundaries or facades. If he can stand by his feelings and attitudes that currently determine him. We have used the term congruence to describe this condition. We mean that the feelings that determine the therapist help him be available to make them aware that he is able to live them in relationship, and then he is able to communicate them when appropriate, which means that he will meet his clients directly in person, can encounter, so that a whole person meets a whole person. That means that he is himself, not denying himself. Nobody reaches this state completely yet. The more the therapist can accept what he perceives when he listens to himself, and the more he can live his feelings in all their complexity without fear, the greater degree of congruence. Next. On the one hand, being congruent means that the therapist can become aware of his emotional reactions to the client at any time and use it to understand the client. On the other hand, that the client is confident in the therapist, can dispense with doubts about the person, and is completely open, defensive, and honest in his own life. We are coming to the end. Conversational psychotherapy is an interaction event and specific relationship offer to the therapist, to the client. The therapist tries to establish a relationship with the client in which he can be highly empathetic, appreciative, and congruent. Appreciation and congruence are not human qualities, but therapist variables with specific functions. They are a prerequisite for the effectiveness of empathy. Empathy and congruency influence the therapist's ability to appreciative. The therapist's variables have no immediate effect other than changing the client's relationship with himself. In process research, process features are examined, that is, variables in the behavior of therapists and clients, as well as features of the interaction between them. The question of which variables can change the behavior and experience of the client is of particular interest. In other words, how the therapist has to behave and which behavioral characteristics of the client have to be present or promoted in order to achieve constructive changes in the client. So I thank you very much for your attention. It was a long lecture.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Hans. And
Yes.
we have like few of them really want to ask you questions. I will just call upon them. And I will give instruction for the participants.
No,
Please be, yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Question and answer, we will take it in a chat box for Hans-Werner
That
session.
will be better.
And for Kadhiravan, after Kadhiravan's session, we will take the questions from the participants.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, you can give the feedback to SAR's session, then I will find out the next resource.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure, Dr. Hans, this is the second session that I'm attending yours. It's a wonderful session, and last time we had some difficulties communicating. So you made sure that this time it should not happen, and I really appreciate your commitment to make sure that people are understanding what you're saying due to the language issues. Yes, thank you so much for that, and a wonderful presentation. And it was a holistic presentation about what Carl Rogers says and what it is all about. And thank you so much for joining us today. Please do wait for the question and answer session, and we will come back to you. Thank you so much, sir.
I thank you.
Yes, Ananya, you can Kadhiravan, sir. Ananya?
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Prof.
Yes, sir. I guess Ananya is not there. I will just invite.
Just hold it, Ananya. Suresh?
Kadhiravan, sir?
Yes, sir.
Suresh, check the PPT. You got the PPT?
Sir, I got it. It is there.
Okay. Suresh, ரெண்டாவது முறை அனுப்பிச்சு பாருங்க.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Final போட்டு அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன்.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, final. அது யூஸ் பண்ணீங்க. Sorry for the inconvenience. Sorry.
I guess Kadhiravan sir has joined us already. Kadhiravan sir, thank you so much for joining.
I'm there for the past half an hour. I'm listening to the answers.
Oh, that's really nice of you, sir. Thank you so much. I just want to ask Dr. Suresh Kumar sir to introduce Kadhiravan sir to the participants. Yes.
1 minute.
Yes.
Sujata ma'am? Ma'am, you can say something about sir and then I will add on that. Yes, ma'am.
So good afternoon,
Yes.
sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Very warm welcome to international webinar on mental health and well-being on behalf of the Department of Special Education and Department of Psychology of American College and Alagappa University. We wholeheartedly welcome you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
It's our pleasure to meet you through Zoom, and it gives an opportunity to share your thoughts with all the participants here with us. It's a golden opportunity for all of us to be with you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Akshya, for calling me for introducing the one of the renowned person in our field, Periyar University. Professor Kadhiravan sir is an Dean, Faculty of Social Science and Head of the Department of Psychology. I'm a student of him. He is a dynamic personality in psychology, and like Hans-Werner, how he is a giant in Germany. In India, you can take Dr. Kadhiravan sir as one of the giant person in psychology field. And I think I had an opportunity to consolidate his profile. Like Hans-Werner, I have received a profile from Kadhiravan sir for one of the meetings. It goes around 60 to 70 pages. But my duty is I have to consolidate for one page. It is very, very difficult for me. So think about that enormous experience he's having in the field of psychology. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of the Department of Special Education, Alagappa University, and the American College, Madurai. I welcome you for this webinar, sir. Please take over the session and share your experience and knowledge with us, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you, Suresh.
Share that PPT. Sir, you can just start and sir, I will take technical. I will download it and then come back.
Okay. So good evening, participants. It's a pleasure as well as privilege to be with you for this international webinar organized by jointly organized by Alagappa University and the Department of Psychology, American College, Madurai. And of course, both Sujata Malli and Suresh are my students in MSc Psychology. Okay, it's a pleasure to associate with my students in the webinar on nurturing relationships, especially after COVID-19 or even during this COVID-19. We can't claim that it's after COVID-19. So during this COVID-19, there are so many psychosocial issues prevailing among the people within the family and within the society. We can't deny the reality. And if you read the newspapers and listening to the TV channels, regularly there are certain news about increasing violence among the families or domestic violence against women or the conflict within the family. These are some of the news often we could come across during this COVID-19. And of course, man is a social animal and we cannot live without society. Being a social animal, we want to love the others, we want to be loved by the others. As a social, if at all you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of need, you could see that the middle one is the love and belongingness need. We want to love the others, we want to be loved by the others. That's the basic social need we want to fulfill. Hello friends, there is a request. There is no need to introduce yourself in the message chat. Nobody bothers about that. Kindly avoid that. Okay, it is keep on peeping in the mobile phone and nobody can watch or nobody can listen it properly. Because I don't want to interfere with the hands session. And even I was noticing that many people are saying that I am so and so, so and so, so and so. Who is bothering about that? Especially with this mobile technology, with the Zoom technology, nobody can notice who is attending or who is going to say something. And when many people are here and you keep on peeping your nose through the messages, nobody will understand anything. So kindly avoid this behavior. This is my request for the benefit of others. When you talk about the relationship, you should think of others, otherwise there is no relationship at all. And coming back to the point, so when you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I think we can't control certain people. when you look up the Maslow's hierarchy of need, the middle one is love and belongingness need. Love and belongingness need. As I mentioned earlier, being a social animal, we can't live without society. And if at all you talk about the society, definitely the relationship is the most crucial factor, okay, which can ensure your availability or sustainability in the society. And do you remember, in the relationship, the most important aspect is our interpersonal relationship. Okay, already many people have the conflict within themselves. I'm not talking about the intrapersonal relationship. And many people, they are cheating themselves as well as others. Okay, there comes the intrapersonal as well as interpersonal conflict. But we could talk about some of the important things with the interpersonal relationship. Being the student, or being the teacher, or being the human, how could we handle the relationship in the effective manner? For which we must, as a psychologist, we must have a thorough understanding about the different aspects of relationship and relationship development. We can talk about you should do this and all, and nobody bothers about all those things. So, if you talk about the nurturing relationship, we should focus on what are the factors for interpersonal relationship and how the relationship development takes place, what are the components of relationship, what are the strategies in relationship development, what are the important traits for relationship, and then we can talk about how to nurture the positive relationship. Right. So this is the idea of my talk. So the first one is, what is interpersonal relationship? What is, next slide please, what is interpersonal relationship? So not only we have to establish the relationship, but we have to maintain the healthy, harmonious, long-term relationship. Right. If you take the interpersonal relationship, what are the steps in, or what are the stages in interpersonal relationship? For instance, whenever you are meeting a new person, for the first time you are meeting a person, first we are measuring the person's physical aspect. We are looking the person, we are trying to weigh the person, and as usual, our basic qualities, jumping into conclusion, judging. So we are trying to judge the person with our own weaknesses. That is a specialty in interpersonal relationship. Normally we judge others with our own weaknesses, right? So we are trying to judge the person, etc. But ultimately, first we have to initiate the relationship, right? So this is nothing but establishing rapport. As a counselor, just now Professor Hans has completed the Rogers model. So establishing rapport, which is a fundamental aspect in relationship building. So we have initiated the relationship, that's nothing but establishing rapport. And do remember, while establishing rapport, we should have some disclosure, self-disclosure. Self-disclosure. The self-disclosure should be at the optimum level. The self-disclosure should be at the optimum level. If you project too much about yourself, or if you project too little about yourself, that will spoil the relationship and you cannot continue the relationship. So we should think of what is necessary to project ourselves, what are the important things to be projected, and how we have to project it, how we have to project our own quality. There comes your assertiveness, expressing your feelings without hurting others. So the optimum level of self-disclosure is essential. For example, Suresh Kumar has made his profile 64 pages, etc. If at all you read something from the profile, okay, definitely that will be the boring experience for the participants. I'm happy that he didn't read anything. He didn't read anything. So, what kind of thing? Here, just because I am a professor, I have been invited to talk about nurturing relationship. So you know my designation professor, and obviously professor means this person should have completed some years of experience and reached a particular level. So using the word professor alone is essential for the self-disclosure rather than reading the biodata for pages together. This is just an example from the current moment. I'm giving an example. So this is how we should have the self-disclosure, but it should be at the optimum. Helping hand to touch my shoulder and give the indirect assurance that I am here for you. I am here for you. So that is the kind of emotional support we are in need of today's world, especially during this pandemic, COVID-19. Many people, they are panic and they are unable to attend the regular work, and they have the fear on listening to the newspaper and TV news. Then they are always increasing our panic. They are always increasing our panic tendency just by projecting the news about this many people have died, this many people are affected with corona, this, that, and all. Then sit and think. That is his basic premise. And Alvin's wife, who was sitting behind, and she said, "You never done it throughout this life. You never done it throughout this life. So asserting displeasure with others' actions on the foundation you build together. Right. Basic components of relationship. Basic components of relationship. The first one is trust. The first one is trust. Trust should be mutual. Trust should be mutual. See, in any relationship, there should be the element of trust is very, very important. Without trust, none of the relationship can continue. Whether it is a father and mother relationship, or husband and wife, or with the children, or with your colleagues, or with your friends, if everything is lost. Once trust is lost, everything is lost. So trust is the base of any relationship. The second component is love. Love, don't take the crude meaning lust. Love is the unconditional acceptance. Love is the unconditional acceptance. For example, during this COVID pandemic, right? So, what kind of love you can show? Okay, you have to think about it. I'll add later, but you have unconditional acceptance we can have. For instance, your brother or sister or the other family member may not be in a position to execute their duties in the family. So you have to accept them. You have to provide the emotional support, and you can do the work, or you can substitute the work with your own effort. Thereby, you can develop and maintain a healthy relationship. Just by position, we cannot have all sort of relationship. Just by action, we can ensure the relationship. So the love, the care. Care is the most important quality in any loving relationship. Okay, so unless you take care of other people, nobody will be bothering about you. So the care is the next important element of a relationship. Then attention. Many of us never attend anybody. Someone is explaining their problem with pain, with tears, and we are watching the roof. We are watching the other area, and we are shaking the head. We are moving the legs, or shaking the legs. Or we use the terminology like well, mad, etc. Okay, so these are all the worst relationship. Rather, you should have the proper attention. Normally in the counseling, just now Professor Hans has completed the Kadhiravan model. As per the Kadhiravan model, you must have the eye-to-eye contact and watch the other person. Actively, you should listen to the other person. So attention is the most important quality in the relationship. Then appreciation. Even the worst individual in the society expects appreciation. So if at all you want to ensure the relationship, you must know when to appreciate the other person, because appreciation is the factor which promotes the self-confidence. Appreciation is the factor which enhances the enthusiasm. Thereby, we will be running the healthy relationship. So appreciation. Then determination. We must determine. We must have a strong continuing the relationship at any cost. So determination is the next quality, and which is essential for the relationship. Then communication. Today, most of the relationships are spoiled because of the poor communication skills. That's what I could say. Not only communication skills, even in the communication, we don't know when to express and where to express and how to express. There was a big bridge in Salem. It was opened by the chief minister. So the police people are standing in the other edge of the bridge, and they have decided to congratulate the 100th vehicle passing over the bridge, and they want to give a surprising gift. Okay, when the 100, is it the theft car? Police people asked. Then the mother next to the father sitting in the back said that, hey, you killed somebody and kept the person in the dicky. You killed somebody and kept the person in the dicky. So this is all, by saying unwanted things in the communication will spoil the entire relationship. Okay, the car driver and the family member, even that fact. And not only that, this is with the when you have the number of children. But nowadays we have only one kid. With this kid, the problem is overprotection. They are unable to form. They develop learned helplessness, and they are unable to form the close ties with the others. Even many of the single children, they have the problem. They have a problem in assimilating and accommodating with the marital life. How much value you are getting back for the relationship? That is also an important factor for the relationship development. Okay. How do we? Next slide. How do we begin the relationship? How do we begin the relationship? The relationship begins normally with impression formation. Impression formation. See, always I already have mentioned that whenever I'm seeing the other person, we try to form the impression. We are observing the physical appearance, then based on the few spoken message, then based on our past experience, based on our own perception, etc., we form the impression. Right? But normally, we used to claim that the first impression is the best impression. But in psychology, we used to say that the first impression is the best impression valid only in the interview setting, because in the interview you will not get the second choice. You will not get the second chance to attend the same interview. But in the normal life, most of the time our first impression goes strong. Most of the time our first impression goes strong. If at all you have doubt, the married people, you can think of your marriages. So most of the time our first impression goes strong. The simple reason is we make the first impression based on the physical appearance of the person and few spoken messages of the person. I could give you another example too. If at all you check all your relationship, close relationship, okay, if you assess the relationship, you could find that with whom you had the problem in the initial stage, now they became the good friends. They became the good friends. And with whom you have the close tie in the beginning of the relationship, now you had the enmity with those people. The simple reason is, in the initial stages, we develop the liking or disliking based on the physical attraction. Physical attraction, that's the last factor here. So physical attraction, but in the later stage, physical attraction becomes insignificant, and the emotional well-being of the emotional well-being and empathetic understanding between others, okay, that will determine the nature of relationship. That's why the impression formation is very important, but many a times our first impression goes wrong. Then interpersonal attraction. Interpersonal attraction, there are so many factors behind the interpersonal attraction, but still interpersonal attraction is the most important aspect. Then physical proximity, especially during this COVID-19, right? You could see that you have the physical proximity for more than 2 months within the family. Within the family. See, so far you never experienced this situation. You never experienced this situation, but now always after getting up, you have to see the same wife, same husband, same kids, same father, same mother. There is no other option. You can't go out, you can't go to your school, you can't go to your office and see the different faces. So the physical proximity, right? So after some time, like government is saying that you should learn how to live with the corona. So you can learn how to live with the people even we don't like. So sometimes this physical proximity becomes an important factor which will help us to begin the relationships. Every day you are meeting the other person. So after some time we have started smiling. After a few days we have started saying good morning or hi. After a few days we have started asking whom you are, where are you coming, where you are going, like that we have started. So the physical proximity is the important factor. But if you take the close family relationship, due to this physical proximity, we are getting so many troubles also. For instance, you are living in the just a flat in the apartment. Then you have it is a 2-bedded flat. So 2-bedded flat, and you have just a 700 to 800 square feet space within your flat. Then you don't have the space to move. So you can't go out. Every time you are watching the same faces, and sometimes watching the same faces itself create the which will humiliate you, and it will create the negativity with the other person, and you have the problem. But on the other hand, due to physical proximity, we learn how to live with them. It's similarity. Normally, we are looking for the similarity. For instance, if you are capable of making jokes, and the other person is also making jokes and also enjoying your jokes, right? So you feel that he is my companion. He is my companion, or she is my companion. And in the family, most of the time, this similarity is not available. That's why there is a deterioration of relationship in most of the marital setting. That social reality. Social reality, again, in this situation, except COVID-19, we can't talk about any social reality. So the social reality is we are experiencing pandemic. We are under the pandemic situation, and we have to adjust and accommodate ourselves according to the changing scenario. So we should learn how to understand the interplay between the others in the relationship and acknowledge them. That is the most important thing. That will protect our mental health also by understanding the social reality, the mutual liking. Obviously, we have the mutual liking. For instance, if there are 4 or 5 members in your family, definitely your liking will not be similar with all the members. Definitely your liking will not be same with all the members. Even the mutual liking will be changing over the period of time. Husband and wife, initially they have the mutual liking. After 1 or 2 entry in the family, the kids, their liking have been shifted. And many of the husband and wife, they are in the situation that even they are ready to go for the divorce. That's the prevailing situation nowadays in the society. So the mutual liking depends on, many at times it depends on a physical attraction too. That's the last thing, physical attraction. So beginning the relationship depends on how you are forming impression, interpersonal attraction, physical proximity. similarity, social reality, mutual liking, and physical attraction. Right? It is like the marketing psychology. It's like the marketing psychology. If at all you have the proper marketing nowadays, even you can catch hold of the people for the help. You can catch hold of the people for the help. Next, what are the strategies we use in relationship development? What are the strategies we use in the relationship development? The first one is cooperation. The first one is cooperation. If at all you observe your own behavior, just to get the name of the good boy in the Kohlberg's morality development, you would have come across the good boy, good girl morality. So, just because you want to get the name of the good boy or good girl, you have started cooperating with the elderly members, or you have started cooperating with the other family members, right? But that is missing in today's society, especially during this COVID-19 situation, right? So, if at all you want to really nurture the relationship, right, you should understand the differences. We should understand the simple fact that no two individuals are alike. So no two individuals have the similar attitudes, similar aspirations, similar willingness, etc., etc. So we must understand the differences. The successful relationship is possible only when you understand and acknowledge the differences between the individuals. So the cooperation is necessary, but the cooperation should come after understanding the differences. After understanding the differences. The second thing is competition. See, we are trying to prove ourselves superior by competing with others. This is what is happening with the brother-sister relationship within the family. Brother-sister relationship within the family. So we compete with the others and we try to prove ourselves in the better situation. Thereby we are attracting, or we are receiving the appreciation from the fatherly figure or motherly figure. Then conflict. You could have watched some people, whatever you say, right, they will be proposing the opposite thing. They will be conflicting with you. They will be conflicting with you. Actually, we used to say that hatredness is, the extreme form of hatredness is nothing but love. The extreme form of hatredness is nothing but the love. Haters do not hate the other people. They hate the negative qualities of themselves seeing in the other people. So, if at all you have the conflict, if at all you have hatredness with the other people, you try to understand the reality. Definitely, they are the reflection of some of your negative qualities. Haters do not hate the other people. They hate the negative qualities of themselves seeing in the other people. So, if at all you have the conflict in your relationship, you are using the conflict for the relationship development, just try to analyze and identify the core. Because we are the better judge of our own self. We can understand ourselves in a better manner than the other people. Even if somebody is assessing you, you know how to hide certain things. But you cannot cheat your own self. So assess what's the reason for the conflict, what they are reflecting, what is their projection. So you are projecting, they are reflecting your own projected qualities or your own hidden qualities. That is why you are having the conflict. So analyze that. Thereby you can overcome the conflict and maintain the relationship. But many people, right, just because they are creating the conflict and maintaining the conflict, they want to establish and maintain the relationship. Then assimilation, understanding of all the possible information. Generally, for a healthy long-term relationship, the assimilation is the main strategy for relationship development. Then accommodation. Remember, accommodation, how you are accommodating yourself in the particular situation. Okay, both assimilation and accommodation requires reflective thinking. Both this assimilation and accommodation needs reflective thinking. See, in many relationships, the reflective thinking is missing. That is why we have the problems in the relationship. And do remember, if you use your reflective thinking, you may have the question, what is reflective thinking? Looking for the different possibilities. For instance, you come across the word Hawaii chapel, the bathroom chapel, popular chapel, Hawaii chapel. Hawaii is the name of the island near USA. Hawaii is the Hawaii, Honolulu, or the islands, the best summer vacation places near USA. Hawaii is the name of the island. See, one of the chapel company owner, they have sent their marketing executive to do the market survey, okay, to launch their product in Hawaii Island. The executive has gone there, and after he got on from the boat, he was shocked that no individual in that island was wearing chapel. So he was keep on roaming around, and he was watching that no one was wearing chapel. He got really fed up, and he has written the big letter to the owner of the company stating that no individual in this island wears chappal, so we don't have the market in this place. It's waste of time to invest here. But the owner was not satisfied and he sent another individual to do the market survey. That fellow got on from the boat on seeing that no one was wearing chappal. He was very happy and immediately has given the cable message, wire message to, on those days, telegram was not invented at that time, wire message was there. So he has given the wire message to the owner, no one in this island wear chappal, so we have potential market. So the situation is same, but how you are viewing the situation, that determines that depends on your reflective thinking. But reflective thinking, looking the possibilities for growth, looking the possibilities for continuation, looking the possibilities for affiliation is possible only with your reflective thinking. So the reflective thinking is the base for your assimilation and accommodation. The next slide. What are the relationships traits? What are the relationship traits? The first one is attitude. Being a student of psychology, most of you are students of psychology, so you must know attitudes are the ruling system of our human behavior. Attitudes are the ruling system of our human behavior. Attitude is the predisposition of an individual towards men or matter, which may be positive or negative or neutral. Right? So, your attitudes are nothing but the disposition towards people or situation. That's very, very important. And if at all you are negative in your attitude, always you will be complicating the relationship. If at all you are positive in your attitude, you will be strengthening the relationship. At least if at all you are neutral, you will maintain the relationship. Right? Not even strengthen the relationship. At least we can maintain the relationship. But it was witnessed that in many cases we have only negative attitude. Actually, we have to deal with the people only with the negative attitude in this society. Actually, there was a story about Singapore. 3 friends have visited Singapore. They have stayed in the hotel, in the 50th floor of the hotel. And you know the Indian punctuality, etc., etc. So the receptionist has informed that you should come back to the hotel by 12 o'clock. Between 12 to 4 a.m., the lift will not function. Singapore is the green city, and they will not use the 3-phase current between midnight 12 o'clock and to 4 o'clock. So they want to ensure that it should not disturb the sleep of the people. So all the industry will be shut down from night 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock. If you remove the three-phase current, automatically you cannot function. And you know the Indian punctuality, as usual, they came back by 12:40. They came back by 12:40. 40 minutes late is the common Indian punctuality nowadays. And after that, they tried to bribe the lift operator also. It has not happened because in Singapore everything is watched with the CCTV camera. Not that they are the noble soul, I won't claim that like that. So they made an agreement. Normally Indians, we are fond of listening to the stories, hearing the different stories. So they made an agreement. Let us climb the steps. There are about 1,500 steps for the 50th floor. So we can climb the step. For each 500 step, one has to tell a story. With this agreement, they have started climbing the step. A completed the story, B completed the story. This fellow C said that, I want to tell you a sad story. So after reaching the 50th floor, I will tell you a sad story. They reached the 50th floor. This fellow said that we forgot to bring the key from the receptionist. Right. So with the same agreement, they have started climbing down. So now C has completed the story. B has completed the story. Now this fellow A said that even I too like to say a sad story. Let's reach the ground floor. I'll tell you the story. So they have agreed and they reached the ground floor. Now this fellow said that our room has the biometric lock. If we place our thumb, it will be open. So there is no need to get the key from the receptionist. With the same agreement, again they have started climbing. Now A completed the story, C completed the story. B said that I'm going to tell you a fantastic sad story. So after reaching the 50th floor, I will tell you a story. So they reached the 50th floor. This fellow said that this is not the hotel we stayed in the opposite one. This is not the hotel we stayed in the opposite hotel. And just think for a moment, either you may be one among the ABC, one of these groups, or you may also you are also witness this kind of situation. So this is how people have the attitude, and we have to live with the people of this kind of attitudes too. So in the relationship, once if we play the gamble like this, the relationship will be terminated, or definitely we have the strain in our relationship. So attitude is very, very essential. Then the second one is assertiveness. Already I mentioned about this. So we should know how to express our feelings. How to express our feelings without hurting the others. Or we must have the confidence to stand up for our beliefs, ideas, or rights without hurting or impinging with others. then courtesy, having good manners and polite demeanor, then creativity, using one's imagination to be original and inventive. For example, during this COVID-19 situation, you can be extremely creative. You can take care of the household work, you can help your parents, you can do the creative work, you can maintain the house creatively. So many things you could do. So far about 60-62 days are over. Okay, even if not, start from today. You could do the wonderful changes within your house, and thereby you can change the mood and attitude of the other fellow members in the family. Okay, so creativity is very, very essential. Then empathy, understanding another person's situations or feelings. What is missing in today's world is empathy. What is missing in today's world is empathy. And most of the time on the name of empathy, we are using syllogism. Probably you know about Gandhiji's story. Gandhiji went to the play Harishchandra with his friend, right? And after that play only, Gandhiji was coming back from the play. Gandhiji was crying like anything. And he said that I never say lie in my life. That is the oath you took after the Harishchandra play. Gandhiji's friend was like our fellow. He was smiling and walking with Gandhiji. Gandhiji had the doubt. Okay, what you learned from this Harishchandra play? That fellow said, see, even if there is a financial crunch, we can mortgage the wife and get the money. That is the lesson I have learned from Harishchandra. Okay, so in Harishchandra play, you could observe that Harishchandra mortgaged the wife, etc., etc. That is the story. So this is not empathy. This is syllogism. This is syllogism. So empathy, feeling like the others. You should put yourself in the other person's place and understand the feelings of the other person, so that we can have the better understanding. Thereby, we can have a better relationship. Then the next slide is ethical behavior. Ethical behavior. Definitely, we are expecting honesty, integrity, and fairness in our behavior. So, ethical behavior connotes demonstrating honesty, integrity, and fairness. Then, for example, integrity is doing right thing even no one is noticing. That's a popular quotation. Integrity is doing right thing even no one is noticing. Right. And I'm leaving it for your option. How many times and how many places we have our own integrity. That friendliness. We should get along easily with others. Only then we can maintain the healthy relationship. Then goal setting. We must have the plan for the future. Even in our relationship, whether it's husband and wife or parent-child relationship, we must have the systematic plan for the future that will help us to continue the relationship. Then initiativeness. So being self-motivated to start your task without being asked. That's what I have mentioned. During this situation, most of the mothers, they don't have the rest in the family. Hope you two agree. Either you may be a mother suffering a lot, or you are experiencing the same situation from the other people in the family. So they don't have the rest at all. Even for the working women, if at all they are going to the office, in the particular time the work will be over, they will throw all the nonsense in the household work and they will start to the office. But now the children's they are spending a lot of time with the mobile and the TV during the night time, and morning they are getting up late. But mothers, as usual, they have to start up the work, and for the father they have to cook for one time. If they have 2 or 3 kids, for each kid they have to do the cooking work in the different time, and throughout the day they are tortured within the kitchen. This is what happening in many of the families. Actually, in our university, we had done the COVID-19 telephonic counseling from the first week of April onwards. Many of the women they have called, okay, they have mentioned about this. Many of the men, those who are called, they have mentioned about the financial crisis. This is what we have witnessed during this COVID-19 counseling over the COVID-19 telephonic counseling. So, initiativeness. Not you should be requested by your father or mother or some other family members to do some activity, and then you can take the self-initiativeness and you can help the other people. But for example, if your mother is tired, you can prepare a cup of tea or cup of coffee and give it to the mother. That will be you can see the changes in the mother's face. If it is between the husband and wife, if the wife is tired, the husband you can do the cooking, or you can prepare the coffee, or you can help the wife in cleaning the home, or cleaning the vessels, or taking care of the grooming activity, etc. You can see the love and affection after that, right? So by being initiativeness is helping you to get the healthy long-term relationship. The responsibility, we must be accountable for our own actions. Then self-awareness. Next slide. Self-awareness. See, knowing our strengths and weaknesses definitely will help us to maintain the healthy long-term. Next slide, please. Healthy long-term relationship. Then the next one is self-esteem. Self-esteem. So actually, in self-esteem, we have to value. Next slide, Suresh. We have to value the personal worth of the person. We have to value the personal worth of the person. Then self-control. The ability to slow our anger and behave in a disciplined way. It's not impulsive way. Next slide, please.
Just a minute, sir. I will just connect to Suresh Kumar, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Because I am talking something people may not understand. That is the purpose we are placing the slides. So self-control, ability to slow anger and behave in a disciplined way, not in impulsive way. Not in impulsive way. Then time management. Time management, budgeting time and respecting deadline. Many of us have the procrastinating behavior. We never mind. Next slide. Is the technical problem or technology problem? So budgeting time and respecting the deadline with others. Budgeting the time and respecting deadline with the others. For example, if at all you are committed with the particular time, you must do it. You must do it. If it is not possible, openly you have to admit that I am unable to, and I am unable to complete this. Then willingness to change. Willingness to change. Adjusting to criticism and change or change in the environment. Actually, there is a popular saying by Ramana Maharshi. I used to quote this in many of the forums. See, if at all you are taking one step towards the God will comes down 99 steps towards you. But I could see it in the different perspective. If at all we are ready to change 1% towards the other people will change for 99%. The other people will change for 99%. But the problem is, we are not ready to change 1% towards the others, but we are expecting the others to change 99% towards ourselves. That's the biggest problem in the accommodation with the other people. In other words, if at all you want the change, as Swami Vivekananda says, you must be the change you want to have. You must be the change you want to have. And in today's world, what's happening is we are not ready to change at any cost, but we are expecting everybody to change, which never happens in this society, that too in this 21st century. But willingness to change is the most important relationship trait. Okay. The next slide. When you talk about the relationship, definitely we should know what are the erroneous zone, the error zone of the people. The error zone of the people. The first erroneous zone, next slide. The next erroneous zone of the zone is, the first erroneous zone is physical. Most of the time we have the relationship problem due to the appearance, the body image. Next slide, please.
I'm really sorry, sir. I guess he is having some technical issues. Really sorry, sir. Yeah. I guess this is.
I don't mind him keep on talking, but people will not understand anything because you are showing one slide and I am talking something else.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so physical body image. Many a times we judge the other person based on the physical appearances, but a lot of relationship fails because physical appearance is priority and not the character of the individual. So body image, we should learn how to accept the physical appearance as such. I used to ask my students in psychology classes, whenever they are talking about this physical appearance is the personality, I used to say to people, see, no two individuals can be alike, right? And moreover, if at all you see another person like you, okay, then we have the debate, who is original, who is duplicate. Who is duplicate? So, if at all you have more than one person in the similar color, similar makeup, etc., we have the doubt that who is original and who is the duplicate. So, my question is very simple, whether you want to be original or duplicate. Even you can introspect yourself, whether you want to be original or duplicate. Right? So, definitely we want to be original. So, original can be only one. Original can be only one. So, your physical appearance is your own uniqueness. Whatever your color, whatever your hair color, whatever your eye color, that is your uniqueness. So learn to accept, learn to acknowledge your uniqueness. That's the most important area where we have been deliberately failed. Many of the family relationships have been tarnished because of this problem, the physical appearance. That the second one is family. Normally in the family there may be some unfairness, There may be some under gratification of needs, then over dependence. It depends on your family. You have either unfairness or under gratification or over dependence. Then the third aspect is communication. Communication. Many a times we have only partial communication. Many of us didn't know to convey what we want actually, right? So in society we have been so far taught how to say what we don't want, but how many of you are ready to say exactly what you want? That is the most important thing in our communication. So we have only partial communication, and the second aspect in our communication is poor listening. We never listen other people carefully. We never listen other people carefully. Then the next slide. Lack of interest. See, to maintain and sustain the relationship, we must pay the attention and we must have the interest about the development of the other person. Whether it is the loving, whether it is husband and wife relationship, or whether it is the parent-child relationship, or whether it is a simple friendship, then we should have the interest. We should have the interest for the other person. Then the fifth problem is always we are focusing on results. Always we are focusing on results. Sometimes we give much emphasis only for performance. In relationship, nothing can be emphasized with performance alone. Then nothing can be perfect. Nothing can be perfect. And always we have the common saying, the disappointment. I'm disappointed too much because of you. And I am always frustrated due to you. I am always frustrated. So these are all due to the result. Probably you could come across the community called Gypsy. Gypsy people, Gypsy is the Gypsy community is available in most of the places in India as well as in the foreign countries. One of the behavior of the Gypsy people is they will be going for hunting, then they will be living as the group, and they will be keeping the boxes and making the fun, making the noises and all. And there was an astonishing finding with those people. Gypsies are the people those have the less chances for the cardiovascular arrest. Less chances for cardiovascular arrest. The cardiac diseases are not even 1% among those people. And the many researchers have done research in this area, and they have identified the simplest reason. Okay, that's their attitude. Their attitude. If at all you had the chance, you watch the behavior of those people, or let me narrate. See, Gypsies, they used to go for hunting to the forest, and they will have the gun. And if, for example, you are going for hunting with your friend, right? You have taken your gun and you try to shoot the bird, and the bullet was wasted. And you take the second bullet, and second bullet was also wasted. By this time, the neighbor will be getting tension, right? That too, the gun belongs to the other person, not your own gun. So immediately they started calculating one bullet 50 rupees or 100 rupees. Second bullet another 100 rupees. Third bullet if you waste, you know how much amount of tension the other person is having. See, next time either you shoot the bird or otherwise I will shoot you. That much of tension we will have just for missing the bullet. But if you see the Gypsies' behavior, they will try to fire the bird. If the bird fell down, they will be shouting hey, and they will be dancing, making the noise. And even if the bullet was missing, they will make the noise and they will make the fun hey. See the attitude. So whether it is a success or failure, we are determining the success or failure in terms of money and monetary gain, but they determine the success in terms of their attitude, how they are enjoying in the present moment. Okay, that's what in Gestalt therapy we used to emphasize about be here and now. That is what the focus of the existential therapy. That's what the focus of Carl Rogers also. Okay, live in the present moment, be in the present moment, live in the present moment. But on the name of result, we are spoiling the relationship. That's the fifth point. Then the sixth point is expectations. Expectations. What others think about me. What others think about me. And do remember, most of the people, they don't have the time to think of others. They have their own problem. But always we are worrying about what others think about me, and we are spoiling the relationship. See, in social psychology, we used to emphasize that this is known as the implied presence of others. The implied presence of others is the important factor which affects the performance of individuals. The next slide. What are the acts necessary for building the relationship? You should become a great listener. You should become a great listener. So, before asking anything, you must learn how to listen willfully. Then ask the right question. Ask the right question. You should not criticize the person by asking the question. In many a situation, if you criticize the person, that will finish up your relationship. So ask the right questions. Then pay attention to the whole person. Okay, don't watch just the face and don't look at the sideways. Rather, you pay the attention for the whole person so that you can understand the body language, you can understand the eye contact and the spoken messages, so that you'll be having a holistic perception about the other person. That always remember things that are important to others. For example, in many relationships, I used to find my nature is whenever I'm maintaining friendship, I used to register with their birthdays, wedding days, like all the incidents, and I used to call them. In many cases, on the day of wedding day, when I'm calling many people, they used to say that, "Sir, thank you. Just you have reminded me. I didn't even remember. I didn't even remember." So that should not be the case. That should not be the case. So remember things that are important to others, not only to you. Then be consistent and manage emotion. That's what there comes your assertiveness and emotional intelligence. So you should be consistent, manage your emotion. See, other people should not perceive you as the man of mood swing. If you have the mood swing, it's impossible to maintain and sustain a long-term relationship. That be open and share when the time is right. So we should be open in our communication. We should admit our own mistakes, and we should share when the time is right. At the right time, we should share the right things also. Be genuine, confident, humble, reflective, trustworthy, positive and fun. But this is very, very difficult to find. That's a different story. Success elements in relationship. Success elements in relationship. The first one is self-awareness. Self-awareness. You must be aware of your own self. Then self-confidence. You should have your own worthiness and you should be confident in establishing and maintaining the relationship. Then positive personal impact. Whenever your presence is there, there should be some positive personal impact. There should be a personal touch. It should be positive. Then outstanding performance. Outstanding performance. Don't think about the performance in terms of result, disappointment, etc. This is outstanding performance in the sense how you are willfully joined together and get the best from the other people. That is known as outstanding performance here. Then communication skill. Communication skill. Communication is the mother of all relationship. Then interpersonal competence. How you are capable of handling the interpersonal differences and handling the situation. That's known as interpersonal competence. Then, how we can nurture the positive relationships. How we can nurture the positive relationship. Number one, accept and celebrate differences. No two individuals are alike. I'm keep on repeating the same thing. So accept and celebrate differences. Then acknowledge the other's feelings. Acknowledge, it's not students, it's a printing mistake. Acknowledge the other's feelings. Advocate for others. The old PowerPoint has been projected, I hope. Advocate for the others. Ask your questions sensibly. Attend community events. You should be appreciative. You should be social. Develop empathy. Develop your communication skills. Get out of your comfort zone. Only when you come out of your comfort zone, everything is possible. Get out of your comfort zone. Give as much as you get. Give people your own time. Give people your own time. And help others to succeed. Help others to succeed. Learn to give and take feedback from others. Because in life, nothing is failure. Everything is feedback only. That's what the basic premise of NLP. Learn to trust more, because trust is the core of all the relationship. Already we have seen. Then listen effectively. Manage mobile technology. Today, on the name of mobile technology, no one is talking to others. There was a popular comment about this mobile technology. We are connected. We are so much connected through wires and not connected in person. So manage mobile technology effectively. First, I'm giving the simple tip. See, during the communication when you have with the others, don't use the mobile. Keep the mobile away from you. Keep the mobile at least in the hall, or keep the mobile on your dining table, and you can have the communication in the hall. Likewise, you can control. You can have the self-control by throwing this nonsense mobile. Okay, you can avoid so many problems in the family. Then remember dates that are important to others. Remember dates that are important to others. Then respond intentionally. Respond intentionally. Spend your time wisely for others. Tell others about yourself. Tell others about yourself. Treat people as you would like to be treated yourself. Treat people as you would like to be treated yourself. If at all you are ready to accept that treatment, In the similar way you treat the other people. That's the real empathy. So a great relationship does not happen because of the love you had in the beginning, but how well you continue building love until the end, right? And the last, the goal is not to sell a bag. It is to build a relationship of confidence and trust with the customer, right? The customer may be your student, the customer may be your family members. Last slide. The customer may be your family member, right? It's my mobile and email. You can use it for suggestions and contacts. But I want to conclude the session with one anecdote. Actually, you know how we are getting the petrol, diesel, and all. Okay, the crude oil has to be refined. The first level of refinement will give the kerosene. Further refinement will be you will be getting the diesel. The next level you will be getting the petrol. Further refinement you will get the white petrol. So the simple crude oil, okay, by refinement, the crude oil gives the kerosene. Kerosene is used to light a lamp in the home, right? Then petrol and diesel, it's used for the vehicles which are moving on the road, right? But white petrol is used in the airplane. So once if you get the refinement, you'll be reaching the peaks in your life, peaks in your relationship. I wish you all success, and I thank the organizers for providing this wonderful opportunity. Thank you. Over to the MC.
Yes. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, sir. And I can see you all energetic even at the end of the presentation. It's really nice to see you that way. The examples that you gave, the small stories that you said, actually made us to laugh also to make, it made us to think. Wonderful presentation from my side. I will say it's really nice that I attended this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Suresh, sir, shall we start the question and answer session? Or?
Yes, I am ready for questions.
Yes.
I can see a lot of people raise their hands. I'll just call upon few people, like it's already time, I think, like 3 or 4 people, then we will move on, sir. Okay.
Yeah, if you don't find, ask them to WhatsApp me. I'll answer them.
Oh, okay, sure, sir. We will.
I have a question from Kadir, sir.
Yeah, please, sir.
Sir, it's a personal question also, and your presentation is very useful. So my question is, how can I control my emotions when talking?
See, assess the cost and reward. First, you assess that is why we used to say the think before you act. So assess the cost and reward. Just to sit, you write down the things. How many times you had the problem with the interpersonal relationship, and the cost of what you have lost the interpersonal relationship, and what you gained from from your emotions, right? Then you can decide what are the methods. For example, if you in your emotion, if you identify anger is the basic emotion, you should use some of the anger management techniques. Or impulsiveness is the most important emotion. Then you practice meditation or something else, and you should learn how to mellow down. Or if you have the problem in the expression of your wordings, right? Then you can. There are so many videos nowadays available. How to mellow down the presentation style, right? You can practice it. That way you can control the emotion. But that persists even after taking a lot of effort. Better you can consult a psychologist.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I call upon Devkanta Ghosh for asking the question. Devkanta.
Next post.
Okay, Gunasekharan. Yes. Dr. K. Gunasekharan.
Next.
Okay. Is Vivek Dubey available? Vivek Dubey.
There is no audio.
Okay.
So there's one more request. As usual, just to send the PowerPoint presentation to all the participants. I don't know.
Yeah, we will send the PPT, sir.
Yeah, you are there, ma'am. Sujata.
Sir, I am here only.
See, dear participant, if you want to ask a question to the resource person, you can raise your hand right now, and there are 4 to 5 members will be allowed to ask the questions right now. Yes, Bhuvanesh Kumar. Bagal. Please
Unmute yourself and ask the question. Bhuvanesh.
Yeah, sir. Do we get a PPT?
Yeah, definitely you'll get the PPT. They will send you. Bonesh, already I made an announcement. They will send it to you.
Okay, next.
Participants, you are free to ask questions. If you have any question, you can ask.
I'll ask questions.
From the
What is the-
presentation.
Yeah, what is the third slide? What you learn from the third slide?
Yeah, that is sure, sir.
Yes,
As
Kadir sir, actually, I have to suggest you something.
Yeah, please, ma.
Your mic is so ambient, so I'm getting pain all over my ears.
It's very simple. You should reduce the volume in your mobile phone. Okay? Because
Yeah.
all the wait. All the people have different kind of network, right? Not mic is also clear. My voice is also so loud. So you can reduce the volume in your mobile, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Deepa RP. Yes. Go ahead with your question. Deepa.
Next.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Please.
Sir, I have attended the session. That is one of the aspects you told that trust is the main pillar for
Yes.
the family relationship.
True. True.
Even with the husband and wife, mother and daughter, and everything. Sir,
Yeah.
suppose the trust is lost because the trust is not at all formed. Then how can we proceed the family life and everything, sir?
There are two options. Okay, accept what you cannot change, or change what you cannot accept. Whether you are affordable, you can change. If you're not affordable, you have to tolerate. You have to tolerate because, especially in the family relation, my understanding is most probably you may ask the question because of the husband and wife relationship. If it is with the children, we don't bother. That I know very well, right? Yes, after a particular stage, they will be moving away. So definitely, it should be partnering with the husband and wife relationship. Then the most important thing is call the opposite partner, talk to them openly, okay, explain what are all your viewpoints, what are all your expectation, and accept your negativity also if the other person says something about you, right? So that try to negotiate with the other. Negotiation means not in the business kind, okay? So interpret the things with the other person and try to rebuild the trust. Without trust, it's very difficult to continue the relationship, right?
Yes, sir.
Try to rebuild the trust. Otherwise, change what you cannot accept.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more question.
Please.
Sir, so as you said that the first child and second the child. So as the first child is doing all the mischievous, the family members are accepting. Then second child comes, there is a comparison. So then we started irritating about the mischievous activities of the first child. So,
Yes, true.
So in that case, how can we solve the problems among the
actually, simplest way of handling this thing is educating the parent only. This is a problem with the parent, not with the kids. Not with the kids. So even see, for your convenience, you had the second child. It's not the mistake of the first child.
Yes, sir.
So it is your duty to pay the attention equally. But many of our families are failed in that aspect. So it should be going with the parental counseling. If the child is having the problem of this and they are coming for the counseling, you should sensitize them. Okay, they are like that. But how can you compensate this? By paying more love, by paying more attention, by paying more trust, you can compensate this. That is how you should motivate the child.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Good evening, sir. One more question, please. Last one second.
No issue. You can ask.
Had already stage fear. How can I forgot it?
I couldn't get you. Yeah? I couldn't get you. Your voice is not clear.
Stage fear. I had already stage fear.
Stage fear.
Stage fear.
Yeah,
stage fear.
Yeah.
You're a teacher?
Yeah. I'm a physical director. I'm a physical director.
Physical director, that's so common because you don't have the practice of going and talking to the others. So to overcome the stage fear, better you can have the rehearsal in front of the mirror. You observe your body language and you try to correct it. Or if you have the most trusted family members Ask them to watch. I'm seeing your age, definitely your son or daughter may be good in correcting you. So ask them to give the feedback so you can correct your behavior.
Okay,
Right?
sir. Okay,
And, and not only that, the stage fear, the most crucial root cause. You just think, sit and think about your earlier stages of life. In some places, you would have been hurted or insulted by the peer model or teachers somewhere else. Right?
Yeah.
Identify that area. You work upon that area. You can use the self-affirmation and get the feedback from the family, or you can do the presentation in front of the mirror, and you can change this habit.
Okay, sir. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good evening, madam. Thank you, madam.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hello, sir. Yeah.
Namaste. This is Dr. Basuraj from Karnataka, Tumkur University.
Yeah, please, sir. Yeah, please, sir.
I felt very happy with your very elaborate and very systematic presentation. I enjoyed it. My department is entirely different. I'm not a student or a teacher of psychology. I'm a teacher of political science. I'm teaching political science in the Tumkur University. I really enjoyed the presentation. Just one question.
Please.
In a classroom, the different kind of students are there.
Yeah.
Students who are very intelligent and
yeah. The normal probability is always valid there.
Being a teacher, we have to encourage a student who is very advanced, and at the same time, if we encourage them a little more, then the rest of the students will feel somewhat the teacher is not concentrating us. So,
how can you manage? How can you manage? That's the question. It's very simple. Our classroom is designed for the average learners. If you go for the normal probability, about 16% of people are gifted, about 16% are the dull and backward, and approximately 68% of the people are average learners. And our curriculum design is called as a spiral curriculum. We are proceeding from known to unknown, and it's meant for the average learners. But the dull and backward, always they are the problem. Similarly, the gifted, they will be the torture. It's very common in all the classes, not only your social science, not only your political science. So how to handle these people? In village, there is a small event happens. If at all you are more mischievous and more problematic, they will give more responsibility. This is the village strategy. Similarly, just to hand over this dull and backward in the hands of the gifted child and assign them as you are the group leader for these people. So you have duty to teach them. And remember, they will take all the whole lot of effort because they are in the same level, so they know their attitude, they know their understanding level better than the teacher. So if you assign some of the responsibilities to this gifted to take care of the dull and backward, then they will deliver the best according to the needs of the dull and backward. And not only that, the dull and backward can easily learn from the peer model, peer group rather than from the teacher. This is what called as collaborative learning environment. Peer-based collaborative learning environment. The concept was popularized during 1997-98 from the Chinese people, and they have suggested about the peer-based collaborative learning environment, and which was highly effective. So give the responsibility in their hands and ask them to take care of the dull and backward so that you can do the justice for the dull and backward also. Inside the classroom, we cannot do complete justice because we have to cover the syllabus, taking care of so many nonsense. I don't want to mention all those things, you know, as a teacher very well. So we have to manage the show. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. One more question, sir.
Yeah, no issue. You can.
So you have elaborated very well the ways of maintaining and developing relationship. I have a question regarding this. Suppose a person is very aggressive and cannot control his emotions. And this is ruining his relationship, suppose in a husband-wife relationship.
Yeah.
And he is not ready to accept his this kind of his behavior. How can we realize him that he needs to change his behavior and to maintain his relationship?
See, for example, first you should assess the cost of the relationship. As I said, reward and cost. Right. See, normally, by the way of reacting to that, we are teaching them how to treat us. This is what happening in many of the relationship. Just to think of the drunkard relationship. till the night at 2 o'clock, you can see the fight between them. In the nearby places, definitely you should have watched that. But in the early morning, they will be coming that nothing was happened. Nothing was happened. So what they are tolerating? Okay, if you call and ask, if you call the wife and talk to her, she used to say that at least for to beat me, he is touching me, I am happy. What can you do with these kind of people? So at the cost of what? The reward at the cost of what we are maintaining the relationship, and get the help from the close family members or close friends. Okay, you can explain them and ask them to convey the message to him. And the most important thing, it is like shock treatment. Shock treatment. If the person is overwhelming, if the person is going beyond the limit, okay, you should not. For the woman, I did not teach what are all the shock treatment available. You use your empowerment and use the shock treatment. Then make the person to realize, okay, why I have behaved, I have responded like this. Don't react. You learn to respond. Why I have responded like this, and what are the change I am expecting. Then make the person to sit, talk, and make the person to understand.
Hello.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, those who already finished the question, kindly mute your mic. We are listening to your kids also. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
I would like to ask a question too, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sorry. So what is the
You are
difference
asking question.
between, yes, myself.
Mm.
So what is the difference between like empathy and sympathy? How do we as a psychologist explain someone?
Sympathy is feeling for the others. For example, you are coming across the accident in the roadside. Immediately you are saying, "Ayyo Pava," and you are going for your work and you don't bother about what's happening for that person. But empathy, you should feel. If you are told you are in that place, you are in that place. Okay, will you cross like that, or will you do like that? Okay, so feeling for others and feeling like others. Feeling like others is very, very difficult.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Please,
Hello.
sir. Yes.
I am Stimulation Vishas calling from West Bengal.
Yeah, please, sir.
I asking to you regarding what is social and asocial.
What?
Social and asocial. What is meaning the social and asocial?
Oh, Akshay Lakshmi, what he is asking?
Sorry, can you
Social and non-social.
Non-social or asocial?
Social and non-social. See, non-social what? Actions or behavior? For example, let me take behavior. Social behavior to get along with others, right? That is social behavior. Non-social behavior, you are isolating yourself and you least bother about the presence of the other person, or you least bother about the other person. That is the non-social behavior. Or you are hurting others, you don't bother about the presence of the others, you are irritating the others. These are all the kind of non-social behavior. In terms of activity, it is entirely different. I don't know to talk about that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
My next question is, what is the process emotional adjustment?
Emotional adjustment. Already I told you about assessing your own emotion. I have mentioned about emotional intelligence. Right. Since this is not the forum for emotional intelligence, I didn't touch in detail. So emotional adjustment is understanding your own emotion, managing your own emotion, and appropriately expressing your own emotion. Okay. So you must understand your own feelings and emotions. Then you must understand the feelings and emotion in other people. You have to discriminate these information. For example, for the same situation, I am getting angry, you are getting irritated. So your feeling and my feeling are not one and the same. Then you have to utilize this information to promote your thinking and action. That's known as emotional intelligence. If you are emotionally intelligent, then obviously you have the emotional adjustment. But for this requires a lot of assessment and understanding about our own behavior and accepting our own faults. Only then you can have better emotional adjustment. Normally what happens is we are ready to assess the other faults. We are very good judge for others, and we are the very good defense lawyer for our own self. So it should be in the other words, in the other way. Okay? You should be the better judge of yourself, identifying your own faults and mistakes, and you must have the willingness to correct yourself. Only then you can have the better emotional adjustment. Next.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let this be the last question. Due to time constraint, we will have this as the last question. Thank you.
Yeah,
Hello.
please. Yes.
So,
Hello.
hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, your voice is very, very nice.
Thank you so much, sir. So,
Yeah, please.
my question is regarding how to handle this crisis for the children. Like nowadays, I have a kid of 5 years.
Yeah,
He is like, why I'm not allowed to move out. Like I counsel him, but still the children want to go out. And when something comes in the house, it's like, please don't touch. We have to sanitize it. And it's like,
yeah,
how
this is
to?
this is the common behavior with children. My suggestion is, as far as possible, don't compel the child, because children normally they have the immunity. Normally they have the immunity. The real fear is when you allow the children to go and play, they should not bring this the virus inside the home, and they should not spread it inside the home. That is a real problem. That's what my doctors are concerned about it. But at the same time, you should tell them, you should make if at all you are capable, you should be in a position to tell good stories. You can use Ramayana or Mahabharata. Okay, you can provide them the stimulating stories and tell them what happened when when Sita didn't obey the husband. What happened? She was suffering. She is with the Ravana's jail, etc., etc. Like the children are interested in listening to the stories or anecdotes. Okay, storytelling is the best method to deal with the children effectively. So use this kind of anecdote or your life incidents, or even you should put yourself down when you are dealing with the children. Right? You make yourself down, how you are suffering, not listening to the mother, not listening to the father, how you are crying. Like that, you can simulate and you can sensitize the child. That's the only possibility, especially with this event, because we cannot educate the child about the sanitizer and all the other nonsense. Even many of us we didn't do properly. Right.
Thank you so much, sir. And it was a great.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Hello.
I have a question. Can I?
Yeah, one more question, ma'am. Sir, hello, sir.
Yes, you can proceed, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello. Can I ask a question, ma'am?
Okay.
Hello.
I have a question, ma'am. Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is.
Hello.
I guess there is some technical problem, sir.
Yeah, technique itself is the problem nowadays.
Hello.
Ma'am, so can I ask one question, please?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Prerna Badoni, and I'm calling from Dehradun, Uttarakhand. I'm working as an assistant professor and head in Department of Microbiology in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Right? So I have a question. I want to ask to the sir that how can we save ourselves? How can students save themselves from digital threat? Right? E-learning is a need of the hour, right? But how can we save ourselves from the digital threat? It can affect us in any way.
Definitely it will be affecting them, no doubt about that. Okay, colloquially I used to say till March month. Okay, you have mentioned that you should not bring the mobile, this, that, laptop, etc. But now the entire classroom is in the mobile phone and Zoom application only. Right. But mind love choices. That is the best method to handle with the kids, especially with the digital technology. Okay, you set the deadline for the kids. For example, you want to finish off the activity of your kid for 30 minutes. Right? You just ask the kid, you want to finish off your digital work with 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So forcefully I ask them. They will be happy by saying 30 minutes. So our aim is either within 30 or 40 minutes we have to finish off the work. So always, even we prefer the longer time. So they will say 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, ask them, already you have promised, you have to keep it away. Right. So by providing this is called as illusion of choices. So by providing illusion of choices, you can handle the kids from the dependency of the digital technology.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We all understand that there is a lot of questions to be asked by the participants. It's nice that a lot of people are coming forward to ask questions. We will share
one more Akshaya Lakshmi.
Yes,
there is also a link through live streaming through YouTube and Facebook is also going on. So some questions from that chat also has to be shared with the Kadhiravan sir.
Yes.
So they are asking about what do you mean by under gratification and
wait. Under gratification means not fulfilled. Okay. See, for instance, being a child, right? If you are the first child and the second child has entered into the family, the first child definitely will not be hugged by the mother. Always the mothers will be carrying the second child and just feeding the second child. The first child has the longingness. That is known as under gratification, not fulfilled.
Okay, sir. The next question is 8 components of maintaining relationship was listed out by you. They were asking, but without having these qualities of opponent party, then how can we maintain good relationship with them?
Impossible. It should be mutual. That's what I have insisted everywhere.
Okay.
Either the trust or the respect, it should be mutual. Okay. Otherwise, in the later said, even I have quoted this in nurturing couple relationship. If at all you have given the option, 99% of the people will likes to change the life partner. That is the reality. That's the reality. So marriage is like going to a hotel. From the menu card, we have ordered whatever we want to have. Later, we are looking at the neighbor's table and we felt that we would have ordered that. That's the situation for many people. It should be mutual. It should be mutual.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. There are a lot of other questions also, but due to time, I hand over the thing to Akshaya Lakshmi.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Now I invite Dr. Sujata Malini ma'am and Dr. Suresh Kumar sir to give feedback and also out of time. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, can I start?
Yes, sir. You can.
Yes, it's my honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks and give feedback to my group. Sir, again, it is a blockbuster movie like session today we had on nurturing the relationship. And in between, you asked me there is a technical problem. I tried to move again, it is not working. And at that time, you have given the comment whether it is a technical problem or technology. And again, I tried. Okay, it is a level of understanding, I think, sir. And today we had 2 sessions. One is from Professor Hans-Werner and another one is from Professor Dr. Kadhiravan, sir. 2 sessions we had, and then I think during this pandemic period, these 2 sessions are very need of the hour. We enjoyed a lot, sir. Thank you so much for your precious time and sharing your knowledge and experience with us. We've been thankful to you for your inputs on that. And one more thing, and here there are many participants given the chart. They are. I think the thanks are flowing again and again. And some of them they are asking. We are not able to ask a question to the resource person, and we will definitely get an answer for you after forwarding the questions to the resource person. Once we get an answer, we will forward to you. So these due to time constraint, we are not able to extend the more questions for the session, sir. And thank you, sir, for the question and answer session. Also, you addressed all the questions without any hesitation. And some of the question we said the last question, if somebody forwarded for another question, you said, yes, come, whatever you want, I will give the answer. And then even madam also given 2-3 questions from the chat box. And thank you so much, sir, for your patience. And I record my sincere thanks to you, as well as that Hans-Werner, sir, for your amazing inputs. On behalf of the Department of Special Education, Alagappa University, and on behalf of the Department of Psychology, American College, I record my sincere thanks to both of the resource person today. And also I record my sincere thanks to that MC and the coordinators today, Ms. Ananya and Akshay Lakshmi for their wonderful leading the session. And ma'am, Sujata ma'am, I think she is working since in the morning. I think the program is 3 we started, but madam is working in the morning 6 onwards. Madam told that can you check live and whether the Facebook is going on or not. Everything madam is ensuring that we have to give the quality inputs to the participant. Ma'am, I thank you for your active involvement in this process. And I record my sincere thanks to all the participants around the world and most of the parts of India for your active participation. And we have received most number of participants inside the room as well as in the live program. Thank you all. We'll meet tomorrow for another wonderful session with 2 experts.
Yes. Sir, before concluding, you just say the feedback form will be given at the last week, 7th day. So people are saying, where is the feedback form? Feedback form in the chat box, I am seeing it.
Yeah, ma'am, I will add that. Dear participant, there are a feedback form will be shared once. And the 7th day, after completion of the 7th day, you will get a feedback form. Once you submit that feedback form, auto-generated certificate you will be getting. And another thing, if you want to give the feedback to the sessions we had today, for that, a separate feedback form will be given. It is not meant for certificate. It is only for your inputs. And Anything you would ask questions to the resource person, that will be shared. For that, we will share a link in another 1 hour in the WhatsApp group. And for certificate link will be shared only at 7th day.
Suresh, my request for this program, you can add me in that WhatsApp group. I'll answer through the voice message because I am very poor in typing and sending the messages. Okay. If they raise the question, I'll give the answers through the voice message. That will be useful for all the participants, and I'll quit the group tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you for the willingness. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ma'am, anything would you like to add, ma'am?
No, thanks.
Thank you.
I also record my sincere gratitude to both the speakers. On behalf of the Department of Special Education, I thank Kadhiravan sir, who is my teacher in 20 years back. I'm so happy to say that. And just because of his motivation and enthusiasm, we are here and doing all these activities. So with the support and guidance of his nature, I'm happy to be here and be with his in this 2-hour session. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. Bye. I'm leaving.
Okay.